Midnight Double Feature presents Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. On this episode, we bring you Season 3, Episode 4, Green Light. Written by Sam Catlin and directed by Scott Winnett. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast, with us here at Midnight Double Feature. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Zoheb, your host, as always, with my main man, Colin. What's happening, Colin?
Hello, what's going on, everybody? I'm doing well. Excited to talk about Green Light. Excited to talk about some meth. That's what I'm talking about.
That old methamphetamine.
Have you ever done meth? You ever tried it?
No, actually I haven't.
I think unintentionally, like I've taken something that had like traces of methamphetamine in it. Basically it's like I kind of got Cosby'd with meth. I didn't know, anything. I was like, okay. You're like,
hey.
Can you imagine like Heisenberg, but Bill Cosby? Just
boy.
like all the fucking great lines. It's like, oh God, what is that? Say my name. Oh, but he's like, what's my name? That one. Can't imagine Bill Cosby fucking saying that. What's my name?
He's getting real close with Jesse, like real close.
Yeah. It's Heisenberg. You're goddamn right.
Holy shit. We are already off the rails on this particular episode. This one random episode in season 3 where we're off the rails on.
Yeah.
Guys, we're probably just a little over enthusiastic because it's been a long time since we recorded one of these. We apologize for the delay, of which you will not be hearing because you'll be hearing this 2 weeks after the ending of the last one. But for us, it's been a couple months. Things have happened. I got COVID.
Yeah.
There's been some other commitments. We had the holidays and things like that, so we just weren't able to record. But here we are. We're back. We're back in the saddle again, baby. And we're ready to talk about Green Light. Green Light is a solid episode. It's an episode that covers quite a few characters. We see Walt's kind of like further downfall. There's a further separation from his family, but also the separation from his job now as well. And also kind of like him realizing that the only thing that he really has left is cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, he's not the only person who can do that anymore, which we'll talk about, which is actually pretty cool. But we also see this uptick in confidence from Jesse as well, which is really interesting, which we'll talk about. Hank has a great episode. There's a moment towards the end when we think that Hank has finally kind of like come to grips with his masculinity and he's able to overcome the shame of turning down El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't fully believe that he does that in this episode, which we'll talk about. Skyler and Ted obviously get super sexual in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of moaning in this episode.
Yeah. Lots of middle-aged sex. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Right, exactly. But yeah, what did you think about this episode, dude, overall?
I liked it a lot. I feel like this is now, now we're getting things back on track to what the show, I feel like, is kind of sold as, not what the show is really about. The show is not really about just a guy who cooks meth. Yeah, that's it at its core, but it's a character. It's a show of, and it's just characters. One of my favorite things is from Stephen King. Stephen King said that about writing characters. He's like, I don't write plot, I write characters and see where they go. And I feel like the show is so like this, and these first 4 episodes of the third season, I think, are a perfect example where you're just naturally letting these characters kind of, and I've said this the whole run of the show, is we've hit these peaks, and now we kind of have to let things like fall, and things have fallen pretty much as low as they can fall now, or as far as, I mean, I don't know, it could probably get a lot worse, but I feel like we're revving kind of back up to what the show is sold as. We're getting back into that exciting like crime element, because like, God, I mean, how many episodes? When was the last time they cooked anything? We're 4 seasons into the third, 4 episodes into the third season, and I don't know when in the second season they stopped, but it was not. It's not like the last episode. There's plenty of episodes in there where they've done. They're done. This has kind of been a one and done thing, but now we're really seeing like the fallout, and I think we're seeing that the ties that hold down Heisenberg are being cut away. The ties the things that make Walter White instead of Heisenberg are being kind of destroyed. And once those safeguards are gone, it's like once Walt's safeguards are gone, it's like somebody reading off the code for Winter Soldier, and he just like turns into Heisenberg, like if he doesn't have those things in place, basically he feels more free to activate this thing. But I think it's great. I think this is a fantastic episode. I think this is we're really things really get cooking, as I like to say.
Oh.
But all in all, again, basically all around character development, except for maybe Walt Jr. and Marie. I feel like Marie, despite the fact of how much I fucking hated her in those first seasons, I think they relied on her too much, and now they're doing nothing with her. I feel like they haven't done anything with Marie in forever. And I do kind of hope, because she is a character that can really kind of, not like a wild card, but kind of, I think she can really change a scene or throw a wrench into it. So I'm hoping they kind of bring her back, but a good roundtable for everybody involved, and a hell of an episode for
Hank.
Dean. Yeah, what's his name? Dean what?
Dean Norris.
Dean Norris.
Come on, we're
yeah,
friends.
That's what I was trying to say.
We know each other
right.
personally.
That's right. That was pretty great. He shouted out the podcast, and that was pretty fucking nuts. I lost my mind, and I was like,
awesome.
"Oh my god!"
I was like, he said our title, dude. He said the title of our podcast.
That's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, a great. Yeah. I think one of the top 10 of all of the Breaking Bad episodes I've seen so far. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, awesome, dude. That's high praise. That's awesome. That's so good to hear. Yeah, it definitely is. I love what you said, because lately I've been finding myself more and more kind of like stuck in a conversation with myself about like, when I watch a movie, do I value the plot, like the storyline, or do I value the characters? And like, I mean, more often than not, like, the story is what it is, but the characters often drive the storyline. Like, like they are the ones that are changing everything. Like the way they react to certain things change, the course and structure of like a particular storyline. Like, I don't know. Like, I find myself being more and more intrigued. Like, the storyline can be boring and bland and whatever, but the characters in a particular movie are the ones that really drive it for me. So, like, I mean, my favorite example of this is Pulp Fiction. So, like, Pulp Fiction is full of really interesting characters, and the story is pretty much non-existent. Like, there isn't really a story or a through line.
It's almost like an anthology,
Yes, and there are things happening in Pulp Fiction, but that's all they kind of are, just like things happening, right? Like these characters getting into situations and like getting themselves out of it. But more like, I'm more intrigued. What intrigues me about that movie is watching these particular people figure themselves out in this situation. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's the true value of not only this episode but this particular show. Like that's what I like, the characters that they've created here, that Vince Gilligan and company have created here. They're just so incredibly addicting to watch. And Green Light absolutely highlights that for sure.
I think a good I think a good example of that we just finished as well is Midnight Mass. That's a really good
Yes.
example of character.
Oh,
You have like 12 people on an island, and yeah, it gets a little talky. There's a lot of dialogue, not a lot of action going on. But when the action, I mean, it fucking pumps that shit in your face, like whenever it happens. That was a very good. The main guy in that, the priest. I don't know the actor's name, but he was I think that might be one of the best like acting performances I've seen in modern times. I think he is absolutely insane, unbelievably good.
Also, the woman that plays the main woman, I forgot her name, but she's married to Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. She's hot as fuck. Yeah, she's in Haunting of Hill House.
Awesome.
Yeah,
she is hot as fuck.
She's really good. And the crazy religious lady, can't remember her name. She's really good as well. Carrie White's mom, basically.
Yes. All right.
But enough about Midnight Mass. Incredible show.
Enough about Midnight Mass.
Check it out.
Maybe we'll do something down the line for that show.
Hey,
we'll see.
If you're watching this, then you can watch Midnight Mass because they're both on Netflix. Let us do ads for you. It's just like
hire us, Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's get into this. So we get this opening scene at the gas station, right? Jesse tries to purchase his fuel with meth, right? But legal tender meth, as it's known universally around the world. I love that he's like barely phased by the cop walking in, and it's interesting. Yeah. Crazy. It's interesting to question like where his confidence came from, because I can't see pre-rehab Jesse being this sort of bold. Like, you know what I mean? Like in the last episode, or maybe a couple episodes ago, do you remember he was like, I'm the bad guy. Like, you know, like this is my calling. I feel like this is him kind of like embracing his role as what he thinks is the bad guy.
Right. I think so too. I think that this is what a Jedi must feel like when they tap into the dark side. You know, this has got to be that feeling of just like, it feels good to be bad.
Let the hate flow through you.
Do it. Let the hate flow through you. Right. Oh man, what is that? And your faith in your friends is yours. That's such a good line. But I think the interesting thing with Jesse is, he's kind of tapping into that. You know, it feels good to be bad because you don't have to care about anything anymore. That's interesting, and I think this is a guy who's been carrying a lot of shit for the last handful of episodes, and even before that, you know, with all the shit going on with his parents and blah blah. Like his life has just been so heavy, and now his life is for slowly on an uptick. But also I want to shout out Jolene Purdy, the cashier. She is in a lot of really great shit. I remember her from Donnie Darko. She's a very, very small part in Donnie Darko, but she's in Breaking Bad. She's in Glee. She's in Under the Dome, Orange is the New Black, Hawaii Five-0. She's in a bunch of shit. And she's in WandaVision apparently too, but I don't remember her in that. No. Every time I see her, I remember her very well. She left such an impression in Donnie Darko. But yeah, this feels like a scene.
Under the Dome is also Dean Norris, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This feels like almost From Dusk Till Dawn, like this like in the desert and a gas station. There's this crime element. I like that a lot. It really helped wrap me up in this episode, and just his demeanor, you know, the balls, you know, on this guy. It's just like it's just so. It's like reminds me of George Clooney, you know, in From Dusk Till Dawn.
It's slick. It's like. Well, he's not Tarantino's rapist character in that. So,
yeah, right. Thank God. Yeah.
Thank God. I love Jesse saying, "Oh, it's not really addictive. It's just a media thing."
I honestly, my jaw dropped. I was like, "Good God, man, that's awful."
This young woman is impressionable, Jesse. Come on, she'll listen to everything you say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then she's obviously got the hots for him. You know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, he's a good-looking guy.
Oh, yeah. They really show off his peepers. You know, she talks about that later on.
Yeah, for sure. She accepts the meth and Jesse leaves, and then we get the title card. We then reconnect with Saul, who's with this guy with the neck brace, right? Like they're swapping out neck braces.
That's great.
Saul reminds him that he was the victim of a terrible accident. He's building a class action for Flight 515, and you know, it just goes to show that Saul never really misses an opportunity to make money. Right. Nothing. He's always constantly working. He's always on. There's never an off switch with this guy. Like, you come to like learn, especially throughout the show, Better Call Saul, he never switches off. There's never a moment when the light does not, there's no light there for him. Like he's just constantly looking at looking at ways to make an opportunity happen or be fruitful. It's crazy. Like this guy, the way this guy operates is so methodical all the time. And
I love
think
watching
he's kind of like, yeah, for sure. And I think he's kind of like buffoonery, like him being like a funny guy, kind of like really sort of like it undercuts it, but it's supposed to be disarming, but it's like don't misinterpret his dumbassery for
that's
lack of intelligence.
That's a disguise. That's like a cloak. That's waving, the thing in front of your face and
totally.
And this is a very strategically brilliant person, with a very 100%. Dangerous occupation.
100%. So Mike and Saul listen to the recording of Walt and Skyler arguing and discover that they didn't. Okay, so did they know that Walt already confessed to Skyler about the meth? Because I can't remember if...
honestly, I'm not 100% sure because it has been so long since I watched the show because I can only watch these one episode at a time. I remember the listening devices. I remember the twins showing up, and I guess Mike calls Saul, who calls Gus, who calls off the twins, I think is what happens in that episode.
Yes.
I did kind of wonder, were they just pulling that, saying that, hey, this guy, I feel like it's got to be a thing of like, well, what, they're just listening to the wiretaps and they happen to come across it. But I do feel like that's probably something they've been skeptical, probably wondering and skeptical of. Like, is he going to tell her?
For
is
sure.
he not?
Yeah. They kind of wonder whether this is going to be a problem until he says, "You can screw Ted, the butcher, the mailman, screw them all," and then like he goes and leaves in a huff. Walt shows up to Benecke's workplace. I love how aggressively he pulls up to the building and opens the door, but immediately once he's told that Benecke's on a conference call and he has to wait, he's just like, okay. Well,
yeah, fine, sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
that's so good. Walt, I'm kind of in the middle of something right now. Yeah, you are. That is like, good. I loved it, man.
This whole scene is just like an analogy for the deflation of this dude's masculinity, right? I mean, like, he's just so like, he so wants to be something that he is not, like he tries to break through the glass with this pot plant.
He's doing what he thinks he should do.
Right,
he's
exactly.
doing what the movies and television.
Yes.
And I love that this is like unbelievably comedic. When Walt, what are you doing? I'm talking with Ted, and he just keeps pulling the plant. And even when he throws it, it almost looks like a comedy, like Wes Anderson. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
There's something about it that's just so goofy. But I kind of like this. I kind of like that Walt is just like, no, I'm not taking this laying down, man. I've taken a lot of shit, but like, nah, you come into my house and you shit on my carpet, I'm gonna have a problem with that. I'm like, I can't blame you, man. I can't blame you. Shitting on my car. They peed on your fucking rug, dude.
and he was dehydrated.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the whole every time someone like tries to hide from someone, I just love the whole like, Ted, I can see you standing there right there in your office. Anytime that happens in a movie or something, like, I love it. That's
good.
That happens in The Office a lot. Like, someone tries to hide from something, it's just like, you're doing it. You're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, his face as he says, "I'm talking with Ted" from under the plant. It's just so good. And he gets dragged up by security, and just as he goes to re-enter the building, Mike rolls up and just throws him in the car.
Yeah, well, dude, I love Mike. Such an unbelievably like intimidating figure.
Mike's incredible.
But I love in the next scene in the background, he's just like doing a crossword puzzle. I was like, there's something about him that's just so, I don't know, man. Again, it's camouflage.
He's doing a crossword puzzle, and when they get into it, like when Walt and Saul get after it, you just see Mike just be like, "Fuck, man, I'm dealing with a bunch of kindergartners over here."
I love how like calculated Mike is, where there's just not a shit ton of emotion in him,
Yeah.
you know, because it's just a job, you know.
Yep.
I dig that. He's almost like a Boba Fett, you know. He's just kind of like, I
Yes.
don't fucking care.
Saul tries to tell Walt to grow up, consider this an intervention. He says, speaking as your lawyer, I'm always looking for billable hours, but speaking as your business associate, I'm advising you to get your shit together. Walt deduces that his house must be bug, and Walt, like we said, attacks Saul when he says that Skyler snuck off the reservation to get some dirty, damp, and deep.
Pretty. I don't know, either incredibly smart or a little bit convenient that Walt figures this out right here. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I mean, I'm sure that he plays the cards pretty close to his chest when it comes to Skyler and his family and how much he discusses with Saul. It's like, I do think he's probably like, wait, it's almost like Hot Fuzz where he's like, wait, I don't remember telling you that. And he's like, yes, you did. He said, I can't wait to move to the countryside, Janine.
Yeah, dude, he's reading the notepad.
Yes. Martin Freeman. That's so good. But yeah, I at first I was like, okay, that's a little, I think that's a little coincidental. And I was like, oh no, actually, that's pretty smart of Walt. It's believable. If this were Jesse, I'd be like, oh, he's not going to fucking remember, you know, he's not going to think about that. But Walt, I think it's a little
but
bit
then,
more
like,
calculated.
also, like, I mean, like, Walt would know, like, I mean, he'd question the fact that, like, Mike knew exactly where Walt was when he picked him up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
that's a
it's
good
like,
point.
you know way too many details
Mm-hmm.
to just be simply following me. Like, there must be something in the house.
Right. That makes sense.
But, dude, Mike has some wild old man strength. Like, he just lifts Walt up, like, horizontally.
Oh, dude. Hell yeah. Like this.
Did you catch this? This is wild.
Just looking at him, it's like this is a guy that would like it feel like you'd walk up and hit him in the face, and it would shake him for like a second, and he would just get right back up and be like, "Oh hell, man!" Like I frame houses all day long. I'm lifting boards and shit, and I'm fucking 32, and this guy would whoop the shit out of me, man. I'm 6'4" and 300 pounds, and this guy would beat my dick in the dirt.
This guy handled fucking live shells in World War II or some shit, man. This guy. Mike goes to remove the bugs, says he'll get all of them because they cost $800 each, and Walt's not that interesting.
So good.
His delivery's great. You know, that's what it is. I love I love the whole like, I'm just here because I'm getting paid for this.
Right.
Like, you know, I don't give a fuck about any of you or your problems right now. I'm just here because I'm getting paid.
Yeah, well, and I love whenever he's leaving and Walt's like, oh, that's a hell of a job you have, like, blah, blah, blah. A, Mike's got a fucking awesome ride. I love that car. But B, how unbelievably hypocritical of Walter to sit there and criticize a man like Mike when it's like, dude, you cook like copious amounts of meth, you know, like how many people, you know, imagine, you know, one thing also we haven't talked about that we can save for later episodes is how many people, and I wonder if this is going to come up, people who are overdosing on his meth, you know, people that are trying to imitate it and getting it wrong and it ends up killing them.
It's interesting. We can talk about it briefly right now. It doesn't cover that. The show doesn't cover that at all. Like,
I guess
it barely
it's kind
touches.
of implied when you're cooking drugs.
It is implied, and it is kind of like a byproduct of what's happening. And it might be subtext more than anything. Like, you know what I mean? Or like what I mean? Like, it might just be the fact that Walt is so narcissistic and so self-absorbed like that he doesn't even like consider it. Yeah, that he doesn't even consider having a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Or no one approaches it. I don't know. This is just because I've definitely thought about this. I've kind of like really like because it's definitely in the back of my mind as I'm watching this. Right, like the cooking scenes in this entire show are so well made and they're so engrossing. And when you're watching the cooking scenes, they're really like, oh, that's cool. Look at that shit bubbling under there. But then you realize, and if you take a step back and think, like you're watching them create things that are actually going to kill people.
Right, yeah.
And
they're going to destroy families and shit, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't think the show got criticized for glorifying any of this kind of stuff. Like I know that Euphoria, which is the HBO show, got criticized quite a bit for glorifying drug use amongst teens and stuff like that. I don't particularly agree with that, but that's a whole different thing. But like
That show looks
Breaking
fucking stupid. I'm sorry, I have no interest in watching.
it's so good, dude.
Oh,
it's A24, so it's like A24ified, if that makes sense. Like
okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I don't know. Maybe I'll check it
yeah.
out.
It's a little like the quality of it is so much better than your average teen drama. But this like yeah, sorry, what I'm saying is like Breaking Bad. I, I think there's I don't know if there's a intentional decision to not focus on the people who are overdosing or
Yeah.
being hurt due to Walt's
Is
drug
it just kind of
manufacturing.
incidental that it's not in there? It's just kind of like, it doesn't
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
It's not.
But I
It's
think
not because or without.
right,
With for or not for it.
yeah. But I think it's like it's not like it's rocket science, right? I mean, like the guy's cooking methamphetamine. The statistics are out there, like you know
Right.
what I mean, like in terms of like what that kind of drug does to people,
Yeah.
and what they do to communities and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. That's a great question, and I'm just gonna go kind of like underline it right here, right now, just to save you from your expectations. The show doesn't really go into that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's just kind of implied,
Mhm.
just look. I mean, everybody knows somebody who's had a drug problem. Multiple people who have had drug problems. So it's like same thing, kind of like an American Gangster. All that like blue heroin that Frank Lucas was putting out. I think that was one of the big deal is that people were dying because they didn't realize how pure it was, and that's what I thought was kind of going to happen in Breaking Bad. So it's interesting that never really comes up, but also cool because now I don't really know what the hell's going to happen.
Hey, this is why we have the show. So as Mike goes to leave, he noticed the drawing of the scythe, and he looks around. Right, like Mike looks around, and he says, Walter, sometimes it doesn't hurt to have someone watching your back. And I love this is I love like whenever someone does this in a film or a TV show, I love that we as the audience don't see it initially.
Hmm.
He just says the line and then we get the context for why he said the line afterwards. Like, the camera pans down and we see the drawing after he says the line and we're like, oh, that's why he fucking said that line, which is great.
I gotcha. That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I like that setup.
Mm. So Walt's at work, he's phasing out, just staring into space, and then Carmen, the principal, walks in and they have a chat in private, right? He's not paying any attention to what she's got to say, and he's super
Unbelievable.
distracted. And yeah. This is Walt thinking that he can fight fire with fire, right? I mean, of course, in a very Walt fashion, he overestimates himself, and he makes a play on Carmen. This is, lately I've just been watching cringe compilations on
Ugh,
YouTube.
you're sick. You're
Dude,
sick.
you gotta do this, man. I gotta link you
No,
some.
no, I can't.
This is incredibly cringe. This should
Oh
make
yeah.
those compilations, man.
It's pretty bad, man. Like I can't watch certain episodes of The Office, like the dinner party one. I eventually am just like, nope,
Oh,
nope, nope,
that's
nope,
my
nope, nope.
all-time favorite episode.
I know, and it's one of Lindsay's all-time favorite episodes, but I can't. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Scott's Tots won't go near it. Won't go near it. Can't watch it.
That's the show.
No,
That's the
no,
show.
no. I can't, dude. When something cringy happens, it's that cringy. I feel so bad for that person. It makes me like sick. I'm like, oh my god, that's so. Ugh, I would be just, and I think about shit that happened in my life, and I'm like, I want to die. That is, oh, good God. Like, just cringy stuff makes me, like, nauseous, dude. Like, I can't watch it. But yeah, it is pretty
Just
bad. I wish when he leaned in, it was like,
it's so bad, man. Poor Carmen. I mean, she'd probably get this a lot. She's a smoke show.
yeah, she probably has put up with a lot of shit.
Mm, yeah. Marie goes to drop off Hank at the airport. She's pissed off that Hank's going in and Hank is trying to rationalize it. He says El Paso is like the Super Bowl. This is the path to working in DC. You wanted me to work in DC, right? I love that Marie is angry for him. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
she understands her husband better than anyone else, better than himself even. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not this is not what he wants, but like, like, and Hank, at no point does Hank say, this is what I want. He just says, this is the way to the top. And, yeah.
Well, also it's just so it's like they don't have kids. It's like it's not like he's like, yeah, I'm climbing the ladder because I want to see my family succeed. Like they're already pretty well off,
Mm.
like
They live in a nice home. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And it's like climbing the ladder is just kind of like, but that's so Hank. That's so Hank to just be like, yeah, I got to be number one. I got to climb,
right.
and just be like, yeah,
ambitious.
But I mean, find something you enjoy. Not, if you're don't enjoy going to El Paso, don't fucking do it.
Totally. He receives a call just in time from the sheriff. The blue meth's back on the radar, and he blows off his flight to El Paso. Meanwhile, Walt carries his stuff out to his car in a cardboard box. He's been shit canned. He and Jesse have a chat. Yo, did you just get fired? But Walt fucking rationalizes it as a sabbatical. And Jesse says he wants an introduction to Gus. Walt says that Jesse's good at a lot of things. Jesse's not using ever, but wants to get back in the business. Walt says that he doesn't, which is interesting. And this is when he pulls out the meth. Dude, the look on Walt's face is incredible, right? Like, I mean, like he pulls it out in public. Like you see Jesse just visibly get uncomfortable because he's just like, dude, like, what if someone's watching? And Walt just goes, what in the hell is this? This is my product. This is my formula. This is mine. You were going to cut me in? No, I cut you in. And, we know that this is very Walter White behavior, right? Like incredibly protective about what's his. Right, incredibly like, this is absolutely mine. This isn't yours. You don't own this. And he's very. I feel like he's very jealous here. Like like he's not pissed that Jesse went to cook without him. He's pissed that Jesse cooked something as good as his, and
yeah, something comparable.
He's definitely disappointed about it. Yeah.
Well, and I think that he's like, oh, what'd you use for reduction? Platinum dioxide, right? And he goes, no, mercury aluminum amalgam, I think. And just the look on Walt's face of, oh shit,
yeah,
like, okay, that's a step up, but still, oh, it's all cloudy. You were struggling with distillation, just a little. It's like, okay, cool, but still, man, like, Jesse knows the market. Like Jesse knows these people aren't going to care that much. That's still, I mean, thousands of dollars sitting right there. It's just,
totally.
It's just kind of, yeah. And I think Walt knows that. And it is a pride thing to see someone kind of imitate your shit. But at the same time, it's probably not as good as what Walt does. It's comparable. It's very comparable, but it's not quite that perfect thing that Walt can make, but I think it's damn well pretty close.
But let's think about Walt's headspace here, right? Like, he's just lost his job. His marriage is in the shitter. Literally, the only thing he's got left is being the best meth cook in the country, and now that's in jeopardy. Like, you know what I mean?
He gave away his KFC famous secret recipe. Can't be doing that shit.
Right, exactly, man. Colonel Sanders, you can't give away your 11 secret herbs and spices. You just can't. I love the box just going flying off the roof.
Yeah, that's good.
Man. Way to kick a man while he's down. Skyler gets a side eye from her colleagues at work. You fucking whore, is basically what this woman says.
I kind of love it, though. I kind of do love that. Like, you brought your personal life to work. So fucking unprofessional. And then, like, I love seeing the backlash from it where she's like, man, this day, it's just dragging. And that woman's like, yeah, cool. Yeah. And just walks off. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did she bring it to work, or did Walt? I mean, I guess she fucked
don't
the
shit
boss,
where you eat. Don't shit where you eat, man.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's a rule I kind of had before I met Steph. I was just like, I'm never gonna fucking date a coworker. That's just not a thing, ever.
I did it once when I was like 19. I was like, that's very
no,
thanks.
I remember when I was working back at the cinema chain, and we were all kind of like kids. We were like 17, 18, whatever. And someone was in a relationship with someone else for like 2 years, and then they broke up, and it was incredibly awkward afterwards because they had to work together.
Jesus.
And every time we were on like shift together, I'm just like avoiding both of them, kind of thing. And that's when I made a vow to myself of like, I'm never working. I'm never just shitting where
Yeah.
I eat. Exactly. Like it's not gonna happen.
No
Can't do it.
bueno. No bueno.
Can't do it. The sound of the moaning over the pictures of Ted's family is pretty slick.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
Well done, editor. Well done to the editor over there. Skyler talks about her family troubles and people at work thinking that she's an evil ladder climbing whore. Ted asks where it went wrong with her and Walt. He always saw Walt as mild mannered. Now, again, this kind of just reinforces everyone's sort of like miscalculation of who exactly Walt is
Yeah.
and what he's capable of. And Skylar now is privy to what he's capable of. And, like, a light has been shown down on Walt from Skylar's side and from Skylar's perspective of, like, no, you don't know what he is. And she's not comfortable talking about it.
Right. She like, and even she's only seen like barely a glimpse behind like the curtain. It only, even from what I know about the show, the limited stuff I know it gets a lot worse. So it's not. And Ted, I mean, he knows even less than she does. So it's like you don't even know this person at all.
Barely scratched the surface. Hank's interrogating this guy Russell. Dude, that's your brain working at maximum capacity. I love this guy. This guy's
oh man.
Because the camera doesn't focus on him for a very long time. It just focuses on Hank's face as he just watches him. And you're wondering what this moaning is, what this kind of like gasping is. And you're just like, it's just this guy like stressing to remember.
When the camera panned back over to who the guy finally was, I was like, is that Russell Brand? That's the first thing I thought. Is that Russell Brand? I was like, oh,
this guy looks like doesn't he look like a magician who'd work a street corner on like Vegas or something?
He like looks Vegas? like Tom Cruise in Rock of Ages or whatever that fucking thing was.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks like
God,
he
Steph
looks
made me
like
watch that.
he looks like Chris Angel. Fuck Dave Navarro. That's what he looks like.
Yes, I see it. I see it, dude. The guy's name was Mel. Mel who? Does he have a last name? Dude, doesn't he? He looks a little like White Goodman from Dodgeball.
Oh yeah, kind of, yeah, with that mustache.
Yeah. He says it was an M name though. I remember the "muh" sound. Dude, I love them leaving the office and Hank goes to Gomez, remind me to get a vasectomy.
That's amazing.
Oh, so good. Sorry, just sipping my water there. All right, Hank wants to saddle up and look for this M-named guy. It's a lead to Heisenberg, where Gomez says that Hank's reaching. This stuff could be a knockoff or a leftover from an older cook, which is a fair point. I mean, like, it's not like this stuff is dated. It's not like it has a best before date or a use by date. It definitely could be remnants of something that's, that they just weren't able to find already.
Sure, 100%.
But Hank's certain that Heisenberg's gearing up again. Hank snaps at Gomez once Gomez presses and questions this is why he's not going to El Paso. Hank goes on the defensive. And he goes on the defensive pretty hard here, right? Again, any threat to Hank's masculinity is met with strong defensiveness. And it's interesting that both Walt and Hank have their masculinity kind of like questioned in this episode. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, Walt is kind of like publicly shamed, and his masculinity takes a deep dive at Beneke's workplace after he confronts Beneke. Hank is a little more stoic about his masculinity, but he's a little more secretive about protecting it too.
Well, hell yeah, dude. And the fact that, Gomez has been, pretty much like his best friend this whole show. And, he's genuinely concerned. It's totally, I mean, unbelievably in the right. And Hank's just this, like, this being this, like, bro Rogan, like, like being this total fucking asshole, like alpha male shit. I really never thought it was going to be like that bad with Hank. I'm a little surprised that it kind of was like, damn, dude, that's really how shallow he is in his masculinity, you know, how insecure he is in that. It's interesting to kind of see that sink to that depth. You know, I wasn't really prepared for that. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Gus and Mike make. Oh, Gus and Mike make. Jesus. Gus and Mike meet. Mike provides Gus with Walt's health status, physically doing great, but mentally he's fucked up. Mike concludes that he's not coming back. And I love that. I love Gus's line here when he says, "I don't believe fear to be an effective motivator." Right? I mean, like that is this sounds like a guy who's had some experience, right? I mean, like we don't know what kind of experience, but I don't believe fear to be an effective motivator. He's had some people under his charge before, and he's kind of like done some. From that line, it sounds like he's done some trial and error, like in terms of like
Yeah.
motivating people, and he's just like, fear. That's not really that one doesn't really work. So
Right.
I wonder what he's done in the past.
Yeah, I think that from what I get of Gus is one of those people that finds what your weakness is and exploits it. You know, whether it's
Yes.
drugs or women or pride or money or whatever. Like he's going to exploit that weakness.
Mm-hmm. And maybe I am kind of like being slippery with you because maybe I do know Gus's background, but we'll save that for a
Cool.
rainy day. Mike tells Gus that Jesse's looking to sell. He says, "I don't work with junkies." I love Gus kind of like just immediately just blowing off
Right.
Jesse.
Right.
Very much like how people underestimate Walt. Here's Gus underestimating Jesse. But Gus changes his mind after Mike tells him that Jesse and Walt have gone their separate ways. This triggers a thought in Gus's head. In my mind, yes. In my mind, it's maybe he doesn't need Walt after all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Walt comes with certain costs that Gus, doesn't really want to pay.
Mm-hmm.
That Jesse doesn't really that don't really apply to Jesse.
Yeah,
So.
Walt comes with a shit ton of baggage, but Jesse kind of does, but for the most part, like it's all self-inflicted. It's not like somebody's gonna blab. He doesn't have kids and a wife that can talk.
Yes, Jesse's also expendable. If he goes missing,
right? Yeah, and I mean, once they get the recipe from him, they could probably just shoot him in the back of the head. To be honest,
exactly. Yeah. Hank gets a voicemail from his supervisor who says that Texas is breathing down his neck. And this is where we get Hank talking to the gas station clerk, Kara. Where'd this come from, Kara? She plays dumb. Hank says she's not a very good liar. Not the worst. Once he had a guy tell him that the balloon up his ass was because of bad Thai food. Hank pushes, and then she eventually confesses that some guy came in and traded the meth for gas. She starts crying, starts giving up a description of Jesse. Yeah, he was dreamy. She notes that he drove an RV, didn't see the license. Cameras in the gas station don't work, and Hank geniusly uses the ATM camera.
yeah,
I love that.
That's pretty smart.
Love the point of view shot from the ATM as he looks into it, dude.
That really made me feel like From Dusk Till Dawn, like some Robert Rodriguez, like early shit. I was like, that's cool.
Bingo, says Hank. And this is our first kind of like lead, right? This is the first big lead that Hank has in this case, which we'll talk about a bit later when he talks to his supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
We get this awkward breakfast. Yeah.
To have any kind of look, to have any kind of like, that's, to be like, man, that's what that person is driving, or that's what that person's wearing, or blah, blah. Like, oh, God, that's got to like make his mouth water.
Yes. And narrowing it down to 29 possibles. Because, like, we'll talk about 29 registers RVs in the state. Sorry. Awkward breakfast. Junior notes that it's been 3 days since the last donation on Walt's website. Yeah, well, people lose interest, says Walt.
Ouch.
Junior asks Walt for a ride to school, says that Dad can babysit now. Skyler says, sometime, maybe, we'll see.
I can't. There's something about the way she says that just makes me like, God, I just, man, there are some times that like I hate Skyler, And that was just kind of one, because maybe that's something that my mom used to do to me, and it would drive me fucking nuts, like as a kid. And so to see somebody do that to their kid, it's just kind of like, just say fucking no. Just say no. Like stop trying to act like there's any possibility that this thing's gonna happen. Like, oh, that drives me fucking nuts. Just be direct, you know? No.
Can imagine like little red beard Colin just being like, "Mom, can I get that? Can I get that ice cream?" And your mom just goes, "Maybe we'll see."
See, because then she would hope I would just be distracted 10 minutes later in the store, and it probably was, and I forgot all about it.
Dude, I went to the movies the other day, right? And in the lobby, there's this mother with her 2 twin children. These kids must have been like 6 years old. They were tiny, and they were dressed in like uniform and whatever. And she was like, yeah, she must have been a junkie because she was shouting. She's like, there's no fairy floss. She's using the self-serve chaos thing. She's like, there's no fairy floss. And the kid just goes, fuck you.
There's something I love about hearing a kid curse, man. I don't know what it is.
It was so unexpected. He just goes, fuck you. And he just takes off. So he takes off that way. His brother takes off that way. And his brother says, I want to kill myself.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what planet am I on?
How old are these kids?
They must have been like no older than 6 or 7. They were tiny.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, you can barely talk.
Good God. That's fucking
It was
crazy.
Rough.
Yeah.
This is Western Sydney.
What did they go see?
I don't know. But I went and spoke to, because one of the managers there, like I used to work with, so she knows me. And we were chatting, and I'm like, yeah, there was a crazy woman in here with her 2 kids before. And she's like, yeah, they've been here for like 3 hours. Just like chilling.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, what the what? Okay. All right. Well, this is this is poverty at its finest.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that was wild. So Jesse receives a bag of cash from Gus's man, whose name, by the way, I don't think we've learned it quite yet, but his name's actually Victor, so we'll just call him that from now. Jesse's pissed that he was the only one. He was only given half, right? Thinking that he just got stiffed. Victor tells him, that's your half, right?
Right. Try to force them to come together. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Hank talks to his supervisor, who just straight up asks him whether he's going to El Paso. He's caught on that Hank's making every excuse he can to get out of going to El Paso. Hank presents the evidence of the RV. The RV's been riding light because it's been stripped down. No front plate, only 29 registered in the state. And his supervisor just says, they need you in El Paso, Hank. You're out of time. Are you going to El Paso tonight? It's a simple yes or no. And what I initially thought was a great leap in character development for Hank. Hank says, no, I can't. But then he kind of like backtracks it because he ends up saving face, and he says the reason he's not going is because he's close to breaking the Heisenberg case.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the reason he's not going. The reason he's not going is because he's shit scared of what's happening in El Paso.
Yeah, and part of me does, like, if Hank was not scared of what's going on in El Paso, would he still stay behind to track down Heisenberg? And part of me still says yeah, because I think pride cometh before the fall, and I think that's just kind of another one of his things. Is he's kind of, I think that Heisenberg is becoming, even before this, just kind of his white whale, like the Captain Ahab and Moby Dick kind of thing. And I
yes, I'm familiar. Thank you for highlighting that for me.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm a fucking dumbass.
You don't read. It took you 18 months to read.
That doesn't mean I don't know what the fuck Moby Dick is or Ahab.
I didn't know. I was like, well, he's uncultured swine. You said you live in poverty with fucking addicts, and then you're like, I know what Moby Dick is. Like, sorry. But anyways, no, I think that, yeah, obviously he's using it as a smokescreen, but I do wonder if he would still stay behind even if he wasn't terrified of what's going on. It's just an interesting. I don't have answers. It's just an interesting question.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Walt hears over the radio that Donald Margolis, Jane's father, attempted suicide and quickly changes the channel. This incredibly thing is. This whole thing is sad. It's gone beyond just something that happened and is now just straight up just tragic and sad. Like this whole idea of like, Jane dying, which, caused a chain of events, which in turn killed a whole bunch of people. And like Walt changing the channel just pretty much immediately as soon as he hears it.
Right.
Just him like running and trying to hide from the guilt. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to watch.
I rather enjoyed it. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's just another, ripple in the pond of Walter White.
Yeah. Victor pulls up next to him and throws him the bag of cash, much to Walt's confusion. And then we get the green light, right? Which obviously means let's fucking go.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's kind of crazy. Because I keep going back to Jane and stuff. What reason did Walter have for letting Jane die? To basically get Jesse kind of off of like that track, get him, and basically to get Jesse cooking again, and to like really kind of, strap down and get to work. Is that what I'm remembering correctly?
Well, at that point, so what had happened is Jesse and Jane had made plans to travel to a different country, I believe New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Walt thought that was the last he'd see of Jesse, right? I mean, like if Jane had died, if Jane had not died, Walt would not have seen Jesse again, right? Like Jane was this influence over Jesse. She was an anti-Walt influence, right, and Walt, in my personal opinion, Walt could not let Jesse go like that.
Sure, and I say all that to say this because it's crazy that he let her die. Now her dad's, I assume dead because they say rushed to the hospital with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So maybe he's still alive.
It's the last we hear from him about him.
Okay, so I assume he's dead. And then also you have 167 people that died from that, and then now he's
300 and something.
Yeah, now he's not even doing it of his own choice. That's crazy, and that shows just like, at least have like, yeah, all these people died so I could continue to do this. I kind of manipulated the situation, and yes, look, now Jesse wants to cook. Now Jesse's where I wanted him, but now, I don't really want it because it's affecting my personal life. And it's like, that's fucking crazy, man. That is some narcissistic ass shit from Walter. That's unbelievable to let all of that happen. I didn't even think about
that. That's a great point. Yeah.
To let all of that fucking happen. And then the second, your wife finds out and she's banging her boss, and then you're like, oh, I can't do it anymore. It's like, dude, you let all that happen for nothing. Like, that's unbelievable. It's almost it would almost be better if you had just kept cooking meth and just like manipulated the situation and used it to your benefit. But the fact that you did was all for nothing is just like horrible, man. It's unbelievable. Right. And that was
what's missing is. I was just going to say, what's missing is him going to Donald Margolis on his deathbed in the hospital and being like, confessing, being like, this all happened because of me. And then him being like, oh, but I quit.
Out in him.
Oh, but I quit because my wife is cheating on me. That's why I quit.
And then he puts a cigarette out on him.
But, on his forehead.
Yeah. I don't know, that's just fucking nuts. But I'm very interested to see where it's going to go from here, and I'm excited to see more of Gus as well, because this is only one of 2 or 3 episodes he's really popped up in, and to see Gus, not the dude running the restaurant, but Gus, like sitting in a car casually talking, was like, okay, that's kind of cool. These guys aren't so big and mysterious anymore. There is kind of like some business as usual to them,
Yeah, absolutely. Gus is absolutely 100% going to become a presence as the episodes go on. Now, the next episode we have coming is an episode called Mass. But the next episode pretty much kicks off a string, a run of like all timer episodes. Like these episodes are going to be awesome. So, we're not gonna wait a couple of months to record. We're gonna get these going because this is exciting. This is this season and the next season are an incredible part of the show. Obviously, season 5 is stunning as well. That the whole run, pretty much from now onwards, is breakneck. So I'm super excited to continue. Colin, do you have any final thoughts on Green Light before we head off?
Not at all. Great episode. Really enjoyed it. Excited to talk about the next one.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Bad Crystal, Breaking Bad podcast, presented by Midnight Double Feature. I've been Zoheb. That's been Colin. We'll see you guys next time here at Bad Crystal.
Bye.